Around half a year ago I built out my VW Caddy. Once I was done, I wanted to take my time with making this video, but now I feel ready to give you an honest summary. My goal for this conversion was to make it as stealth and as modular as I possibly can, while still letting it house a bed for 2 people. All of the furniture simply locks in place using these mounting points of the car. The only thing I obviously had to screw down was the shelf, because I don't want it to tip over. Luckily, there were 2 mounting points in the metal frame of the car already, so I could just utilize them. So this results in me taking around 10 minutes to remove all of the furniture from the car. Since I've been driving around with this car, I'm happy with most of my design choices. There were just a few things I changed along the way, but it was luckily nothing major. The feature that I used the least so far was the water tank. I haven't been on super long trips yet, so washing myself with it or utilizing it for drinking water didn't seem that beneficial so far. I am a huge fan of keeping things simple, so I did not add a pump and instead placed the water tank as high off in the car as I could. The lower you hold the tap, the more pressure is on it. The only thing I could complain about so far is space. On my own, I had no problems at all. But I once went on a trip with a friend and we both brought along our skiing and paragliding equipment. At that point you have to get a little bit creative of where you put your stuff. That being said though, there is enough space for me to put my skis into the storage box under the bed. First thing I would do if storage bothers me enough at some point is add a roof rack. One thing I never really used so far is the 100-watt solar panel that I mounted on the roof. When I got the car, it was already the end of the summer, and so I never really plugged in my 12-volt compressive cooler, which is the item that would draw by far the most amount of power from the lithium iron phosphate battery that I added behind the driver's seat. During warm summertime this might change, but for now I have mainly used my alternator to just charge this battery. In order to do so, I added a DC to DC charger below the driver's seat with a switch that I can toggle on and off while driving. Together with my legendary carpenter dad, I went through loads of different material choices, but I did end up with birch plywood because it's still somewhat affordable, yet super nice to work with, and I think it looks good enough. If we take a peek in here, you can see the messy cable management, the fuse box and the solar charge controller. Right above that is a 12-volt hub where you can charge all your devices and store some cables in the back. The little slot above turned into my mini snack bar. If I want to boil some water or cook something, I use one of these simple gas stoves. And I love it. Yes, it burns more gas, but it's so much nicer than the small camping stoves I'm used to. There were times where I was a bit disappointed of the big glass roof, because during winter time it condensates super quickly if you stay inside the car. Other than that though, it was really pretty, and it does feel fairly beneficial to have this if you block out all of the windows. Let's move on to the hatch. I cut some holes into the wood panel covering it in order for me to have more space, which I can use for tow rope, starter cable, first aid kit, these kind of things. Another thing I did was add a latch so that I can open the car from the inside. These tools to change your tire in the back are still accessible. That was fairly important to me. One thing I didn't quite know what to do with was the side window at the back. You can buy bags to fit in there, and that was my original plan, but when I saw how much they cost, I just built a simple wind shelf. Last but not least, let's talk about the stealth attribute. In my opinion, felt is a really cheap, thick and good looking material, so I don't regret blocking the inside windows with it at all. On the rear window, I wanted to be able to remove them partially, but I was against curtains because you could see them from the outside. So I made some wood handles with magnets on them, and it seems to do the job fine. Yes, if you look into the car from the front, you can still see a curtain, so you could guess that there's camper furniture in the back, but that's about it for the giveaways, unless you make lots of noise in the car. Sometimes it feels good to be single. Let's do a little test, because when I accidentally set my phone brightness to maximum at night, this is what it feels like. I'm quite convinced you could have a surgery in the back of this car behind enemy lines and wouldn't be detected. Jokes aside though, I did feel very comfortable sleeping in the car so far, even if it was a busy street or there was a lot of light outside. This car was made for the shy German citizen I am. If you live in America, just buy a big Sprinter and go around the country. If for some weird reason you want me to convert your car to a camper van, then you can message me on Instagram or via email. And with that being said, I hope you have an amazing day.